morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is July 21, 2023. It also is a Friday, which means that tomorrow is Saturday and then it's Sunday and then we'll be back out on Monday. But before that, we have Friday. Bender, am I correct in this evaluation and analysis?
As usual, I was kind of halfway paying attention, so I'm going to say yes.
Okay. We'll take that. We'll take that. Here's some additional analysis. Yesterday, the market decided to flip it and play anal on everybody. There's some more analysis. That was dirty butt stuff yesterday. Very dirty butt stuff. There's not a whole lot going on from a news or data standpoint. There just really isn't. It's like just stuff. I believe Volvo announced that they're going to be using the Tesla charging standard, so it'll probably be down another 8 to 10% today because nobody likes money. There's that. American Express, the report wasn't that bad. They expected to, continue boost in spending from travel and entertainment. So we got that going for us. Really, again, I think a lot of this, the risk off in some ways that we can look at it. There's probably multiple reasons for it. Rebalancing was stated yesterday, even though it sounds like a complete and utter crock of shit. It's like, yeah, there's that. We have the Fed next week. We have OPEX today. Just stuff. And, sometimes when you get too many things, walking in the door together, you get shenanigans. So we got shenanigans. Let's see what they want to do with it today. They did one hell of a job and really making the charts look like shit. And even this little rebound this morning, you can fix your eye and be like, well, that's kind of like a bear flag rising wedge type thing without any type of real conviction to the upside. So is this bottomish? Was that the pullback? Was that the enough? I don't know. I really don't know, Bender. I really don't care because today's Friday. And I think that I am positioning myself mentally to take on the greatest fight I've ever taken on. The greatest fight ever. So, yeah.
Which is what?
FINRA and their pattern day trading rules. Okay. They are, by definition, discriminatory. They create a barrier to entry. They force people to stay in positions longer than they should. They create an uneven playing field across the board when it comes to the small guy trying to be in the same game as somebody with $1 billion. They are fostering an environment that penalizes those with less and gives an advantage to those with more. That, by definition, is discriminatory. So, yeah.
I mean, how about all these transactions that we don't get to see that take place? I mean, well, I don't want to get into it.
It's really like
FINRA, there's all kinds of funky shit.
The wild thing about FINRA is they're not a government agency. They're a nonprofit. I did some researching last night. They are a nonprofit that has been given a mandate by Congress in order to kind of like the Fed. They're kind of like the Fed. It's like the whole thing gets really interesting. And you read their website, it's like our job and our duty is to protect, everybody within the market. And when you have regulation like this that comes out, when you have rules that are placed in order to absolutely penalize those with less and give an advantage to those with more, with a massive barrier to entry that is punitive, it's like, in an era to where discrimination and the wealth gap and the conversation of the have and have nots are so intense and so massive, for them to step out and say, we need to be more punitive against people, it's like, okay. I will have a very busy weekend.
Can't wait to see what comes out of this. Are you going to use some GPT to write some letters?
No, I'm going to use me, myself, and I. It's like the first one going out is, and I started it last night, was was basically, I want to see the data that they're using to support this decision. Like, how does this protect? You have to have data for your policy to show that it supports and protects the average Joe that you're claiming to support and protect. Let's see the data. Show the math. How does it protect? How? Love to see it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we'll start there.
if you do use the GPT, you can send lots of letters and like just overwhelm them with shit. Anyway. All right. Well, got anything else you want to cover as far as? I mean, we don't really have anything on the calendar, right?
There's nothing on the calendar. There's nothing, anything. We have OPEX. We have whatever butt stuff they're doing to the NASDAQ. It's like what? Big sell. We get a rebound up to, up to a little bit, and then we get to, figure out what they're going to do next week. It's like watching flow is going to be difficult. I will say that while there were bearish lines yesterday, there was nothing just like, oh my God, we all going to die. There wasn't that type of activity.
Yeah. And, in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to throw up a chart real quick. We'll go ahead and kind of get started with this. I mean, you can see that pullback here really doesn't, it's not.
That's the ES. The blood was in the NASDAQ.
Sure. And
ES
we can pull up a NASDAQ chart here in a minute.
It's like SPY was barely a paper cut. It's like they had the NASDAQ down 3%.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll look at a NASDAQ chart as well. But you can see this parallel channel here and where we hit, top of it before pulling back. You can see the channel top that I have shown there. If I zoom out to a daily, kind of looks something like that. That channel, the bigger channel here, I used this candle down here as the starting point. But you can see that going back to the 4 hour, that those are parallel, pretty close there. Let's go back to a 1 hour. So we've got that channel there. We were kind of watching that. I've got the Asia session low marked with the that low from yesterday. What was that, like 3 o'clock Eastern, just a little bit lower there at 45. What is that? 45.57. 45.57. Yeah. So if we measure from the high, the top of the channel to the low, 45.57, 50% retracement of that was 45.8325, and the 618 is 45.8925. So I'll be watching to see if we can get above that 618 retracement. If we do, probably take out that 45.9425. As you can see on the 1 hour, there is a volume imbalance in here. You can see there's some crap right in here that I could see it going back to fill in. So that's 45.9575. If we get above that and hold, then, there's not a whole lot to stop it until we get up to 46.40, which is a high from, go back to the daily. Oh, I must have moved that line on accident. Let's drag that back down there. 45.3820 or 46.3825 is where that comes in. Going back to the 1 hour, you can see that all the way up here. So if we can get through this, take out this high, 46.0925, we could see it pull all the way up here to that 46.40 level. The 1 hour here kind of has it kind of has that anything can happen, right? Like we've talked about the fact that we are in a bullish phase, right? It seems that the days of, hitting a level and then just selling the shit out of it, that's not what's going on right now. They're buying dips, right? And they continue to buy dips. The challenge is always which dip to buy, right? In this scenario, ran to the top of the channel, came down from the bottom of the channel. We have not seen the bottom of this again since this all started. We've got this. This is that shaded box with a few taps here. 3 taps makes a trend. We haven't seen the bottom side of that in, what's it been, 10, 11 days or so. We were down there back on the 10th. So, when you see this sort of setup, it's like, well, they're going to buy the dip, which dip. But we were also kind of talking about yesterday that when we're in a bullish phase, that they don't make it easy on those pullbacks, right? The pullbacks are met with attempts to buy, which if you're trying to short can make it very frustrating because, you're looking for a continued move down. And it's like every time they get to a level, there's support that comes in because there's still plenty of participants that are sitting there going, oh, I need a dip. I need a pullback, right? And you can see on a 4-hour here, hit the top of the channel, pulled back, filled in this candle, and support came in, right? I think here on the 4-hour, again, that you can see that 45.94, 25 kind of being the key. If we get through that and can hold it, then we're right back up here. On the flip side, we take out 45.57, and that acts as resistance. There's a little bit of space in here. If we go back to a 60-minute, kind of right in here, this hourly candle, and you can see 60-minute fair value gap down here. So there is some stuff that, it can go back and fill in, but that's when it gets, again, it can get kind of frustrating when you're trying to short it, because all of these, it seems like all these 60-minute fair value gaps, any fair value gap that gets filled in, there is some support that comes in along with it. So it's, it's kind of tough when you have this stuff left behind and you're trying to short it on the way down. But if the momentum's there and it breaks this 45.57, play it to this fair value gap, and then you kind of have to wait for, unless you're just moving stops down, you can't be selling the sort of breakdown, right? You have to wait for that bounce back up into a fair value gap and look for that as a short opportunity, because you never know when they're going to do this. They're going to pull it back up, stop out all the shorts, right? Take out all those stops. So you just kind of got to play it level to level. The worst thing you can do, which I'm guilty of sometimes, is it's like trying to short the break before the retest. And that's when you'll get stopped out. So anyway, that's the ES. Let's pull up and I don't even have, let's see. I'll just pull up, NQ. NQ a little bit here. And I can kind of mark up this chart a little bit if you want, since we don't have Stonkington.
Yeah,
if you
it's
want to
like
go to
you can
Sunny
see
and see
how,
what he
how
has to
it's
say.
pared down, and just without putting lines on it, you can see that it's right about, a longer term trend line in through here. depending on how you want to draw your line. Like this little pullback kind of brought it into channel, to my eye, depending on, what you want to look at. It's like that area that you just had your mouse right there, that previous high seems like the place that it would get the most powerful reaction and bounce off of. But it's like, in a lot of ways, it was slightly, I said it 1,000 times on the way up, nonsensical. The sell down was nonsensical, especially with some of it. It's like them beating the living shit out of Netflix. It's like that makes sense because they didn't hit their numbers, right? Some of the others, hit their numbers and still got taken out back. Some dumb fuck is going to be like, well, you got one hell of a run to the upside on Tesla, so that's what you get. It's like, but you should really consume cock more often because that's not how the game is supposed to go. It's like you maintain guidance, and you sell 10%. Come on.
How much is priced in? There's always that question. Right.
Well, actually, none of it's priced in if you're not gonna have any type of acknowledgement of licensing FSD, nor are you going to acknowledge the increased revs from whatchamacallit, the charging piece. Nor are you going to acknowledge.
I get it. I mean, the other thing that we know.
Hang on a second. You said priced in, and so
Okay.
let's have, that's what you said. Nor are you pricing in. Fuck, I lost my thought. Go ahead.
Well, let's go back to the fact that the stock price oftentimes has nothing to do with or is seriously disconnected from what's actually happening and the actual, like we see that all the time in stocks, and it's like, it is what it is. Trade it, but it's often disconnected. So, and there's plenty of tickers that we can look at and go, oh, this is stupid, this makes no sense, right? But it doesn't, and it doesn't have to. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Longer term, I mean, you know how this game is played. Like longer term, you can look at moves that don't make any sense, and if time is on your side, and you're like, I don't care how long it takes, right? Like when SoFi was at $5, under $5, we're like, this makes no sense. This is stupid.
Right. I think what I'm trying to get at here is when you have Netflix that effectively missed and said that they can't make money unless they don't, whatever they said over there, they were down less percentage wise than a Tesla was. When Netflix was completely blown out substantially more on the daily than Tesla was, or even some of these others. It's like it gets very, very convoluted. Now, to your point, was yesterday could have been a buying opportunity. Did I buy more shares? Yes. Am I irritated? Still, very much so. Very much so. But like you said, maybe the game is just meant to piss me off. Maybe it's just designed in order to make me angry and have to, eat Pepsid and Tums all the time. Maybe that's the game. Maybe I should try to get a sponsorship from Pepsid. That might be a good idea.
There you go. All right. Well, here's the NQ 4 hour. You can see that off this most recent move, it's a 50% pullback, just under the midpoint of this channel. Let's see if this 50% pullback continues to hold. Looking at this, let's see what that fair value gap looks like on a 60-minute here. We've got one filled here. There wasn't really any space in there. Next one up at 15,806.75. I would say that if it gets above that, you can go. Going to a 15 minutes. that looks like. So here's your top of your 15-minute fair value gap right there. Bro. And then if it's going to come back down and break below that 50% level, take out these lows, at least early here. You'd want to see a break below that 15,662.25. If it gets below that, you get the retest and fail. Or even on the retest is the opportunity, right? Because that's the, comes back up and retest. That's when you hit it. And as soon as it, if it manages to get through, then you're out. But that's where you hit it. Now, if it continues to march up to the top of this 15-minute fair value gap, that's where I watch and see what it does. Is it gonna wick through and pull right back down? Because if that's going to be the case, then you look for that down candle to create a 15-minute fair value gap short back up into it, or even a 5-minute and short back up into it. If it gets through and it holds, then it's going to likely take out that 786, and then that 15-minute, top of that 15-minute fair value gap. That last one up at 804. And then you got 858.25. But for now, at the moment, going back to the 4-hour, that was a 50% retracement. And now we got to, see if all we're going to do is go back and fill in this candle, or if that's all it was looking for, was that 50% retracement. Flow, hopefully, will give us some clues today. If they continue to buy this dip, right? If they come in this morning and flow is bearish and they start selling shit, then the dip is not over, right? But if all they wanted was that 50% retracement, we should see it in the flow, I would think.
Yeah, it's like they tried several times to buy yesterday and got snuffed out. It wasn't until like the last, several hours of the day that they were just like, fuck it. If we can't get upside activity, we're just going to dump everything out. And that's what we saw. In a lot of ways, what we saw at the end of the day was a legitimate level of short-term capitulation on any real upside play that was sitting out there. So it's like they dumped out of a lot of calls yesterday. A lot of calls got dumped. But I didn't necessarily see exacerbated put activity either. Maybe that's today. It's like yesterday, towards the end of the day when they were dumping out of calls, it's like that. You, in a lot of ways, you would have been shorting the whole, and then waking up this morning being like, "Oh wow, that's kind of hurt my ass a little bit," especially with the sell over in tech. So it's like you started the show off over there. Is this the bounce to get short off of? It's a great question. It's a great question. And to be fair, Bender, I don't know that you're going to have an answer until Wednesday.
And that could be, yeah. That could be.
But if they really wanted to do the okey doke, they'll sit there and fire this thing to the upside like all bloody hell. Wreck shorts that got in yesterday, like really wreck them, trap those guys, and continue to pound it and create more of a FOMO environment to the upside, and then sell Monday. Like if they really wanted to be dastardly.
Yeah. All right. Well.
All right, Sonny, what you got for us?
14 minutes. Go to Sun. Yeah. Sun's gone. Yep. Right. He dropped. He may have been having audio issues again or something.
We have a few minutes until open. This Friday, it's OpEx. It's a bunch of other stuff. The rule is don't hook up on Friday. And yeah, I don't know that I have anything. It's like I feel like it's like just like we're just here because the market is open. That's what it feels like.
We're here because, well, maybe, I don't know. See what opportunity. I mean, we're here because we are present for and ready for opportunity should it present itself. If they really decide to sell this thing.
It just feels tainted. It feels tainted.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what to tell you about it feeling tainted. Don't. Yeah, but that's. I don't know. There's probably a joke there about feeling your tainted, but it's too early for all of that. So I guess that's
really
about all I got.
for any of that?
Well,
all right. Maybe we
I'm
should
not
probably
so sharp this early in the morning. So
we should probably cut it before I start being creative in thought, because that can be dangerous.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep. All right. See you in a few.